Very low.
How you doing?
Wow. Wow. Good evening, sir.
Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm very well, thank you, sir. Very well. How are you?
Fine,
You,
fine.
you look very fit, healthy and young today,
Well, yeah,
sir.
I do 15, 20,000 steps a day. I'm by the beach here, Orange County in California. So yeah, I keep myself busy and fit.
Wow. Wow. You do 15,000 steps a day.
50, 25, it depends on how I feel.
Wow. Wow. So let's get into the meat of it. So, Senator, thank you so much for joining me today
Thank you
for us
for
to
inviting me.
discuss yes, sir, for us to discuss new generation Africa, but especially a new generation Nigeria. Um,
Uh-huh.
and of course, we're going to linger on the topic of young people. We're going to linger on the topic of youth development and
Hmm.
nation building. There's some people on Zoom, but don't worry about that. So they're listening, and they can see us, and they'll get the recording as well. We've got
No problem.
I mentioned a few. We've got Mr. Charles Freeman from the Executive Council at Oxford Online. We've got
Uh-huh.
Jack Fowler, the Oxford University, Oxford Union president online as well. We've got the
Uh-huh.
director of Africa Studies, Dr. Wale, who's also online as well,
Mhm.
and many other people. A special shout out to Aita for making this happen as well.
Okay.
Really, 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 really do appreciate you, sir. So, sir, I'm going to kick off very briefly around the topic of young people, but I don't want it to really be like I'm firing questions at you. I would rather have us go into a brief discussion, just for us to, allow everybody who's watching to just really dive into your mind and see your perspective on young people. So, okay, youth in Nigeria, 2023 is coming. We've seen a lot of youth complaining. I've been speaking to a lot of young people, a lot of people that are politically involved in Nigeria, and they're always complaining at the fact that young people aren't involved in politics. A few years back, we saw the Not Too Young to Run bill being passed in Nigeria. But my issue with that is, and this is where I would pitch my tent for us to continue our discussion, is young people are too poor to run for election in Nigeria. So how do young people actively get involved, even if they are credible enough to get involved? How do they fork out millions of dollars to pay for elections?
Okay, well, first of all, they don't have millions of dollars to pay for election. They don't have any money.
Yes, sir.
75% of Nigerians are under the age of 35. And under the age of 35, they are struggling, trying to make a living, unless they got daddy's money. And those with daddy's money are not going to risk what they have into politics. And people who take political positions in Nigeria, usually poor people, they have nothing at stake. Rich people don't fight because if they fight, the government will take what you have and throw it away and throw you away. Think of
Wow.
what happened to Abiola. They will fight you, imprison you, and they will make you lose your business. They will go after you economically. That is what happens in Africa.
So,
They'll go after you.
did you say specifically poor people that would rather get into politics and the rich stay away?
The rich will not run, and I tell you why. The
Okay.
rich will not because they have too much to lose. Rich
Okay.
people don't run. They lose. People who have assets are not going to run. And I gave an example of MK Abiola. He ran. They shut down Concord. They shut down his press. They shut down his business. They killed everything he owned while he was in prison. And when he died, his family had nothing. A multi-billionaire poor. And if you look at that, the people who fight are people who have nothing to lose. Because if you have a lot to lose in the third world, your chances are you're not going to fight. Look at the guy who fought Russia. He got himself in prison. I was having a conversation with, that was in 2007, I was having a conversation with some very powerful Nigerians. I can't on air. And
Yes, sir.
one of the guys at the meeting owned a bank, and he was
Mhm.
terrified that he said to me, listen, this meeting is private. Unfortunately, anybody outside the political structure to protect your vote. And then it goes on all the way to coalition center and so forth and so on. On the day of the
Yes,
election, you need maybe 500,000 people paid who are loyal to you, who will protect your vote on the day of the election. If you are paying
wow.
each president 10,000 naira by 500,000
Yes, sir.
people, how much is that? What's 10,000 naira times 500,000 people? What's that figure? Whatever that figure is,
Yes, sir.
that is how much on the day of the election. Then a
Wow.
politician will, you need
Wow.
money for INEC, money for the police, and so on and so forth. So therefore,
Yes, sir.
when I saw guys got up and said they're going to run, they're going to challenge PDP or APC, I bust out laughing. They're wasting their time. It's not going to work. It's not. The only way you can get into politics and play a role, you must have a movement. If you don't have a movement, and I'm being realistic. See, when people ask me questions, I say to them, do you want the truth or you want a political answer? If you want the truth for young people, you got to have a movement. You got to have a movement and people will follow you. And a friend of mine ran for the House in Edo State.
Yes, sir.
He came, he had great rallies. He was a young guy, great rallies. He was very popular. Everybody loved him. On the day of the election, he only got 50. His own cousin
50 votes,
voted.
50.
Cousin voted against him. And he said, why? He said, uncle, you have no money. When you have money, I'll vote for you.
Oh my God.
That's the reality. I'll tell you as it is.
Wow.
Now, if anybody's foolish enough to go into politics without the resources or the political structure behind you, you're going to waste your time. If it's a movement that you cannot stop, then it's different. Buhari had a movement. He's unstoppable. Sir. He has 11 million loyal voters. He is unstoppable. When he leaves office, it is an open environment for whoever runs in 2023. But I guarantee you, a young kid with no money, no political structure is not going to be the candidate.
So is it fair to say that, you know, we have some candidates who come up and say they want to become president because they're good at speaking or because they're a scholar at a certain university? Those things don't qualify you in Nigeria. What qualifies you in Nigeria is
look. We are a hypocritical nation. If Muhammad Ali was a Nigerian and he fought against a sitting government, John F. Kennedy, Johnson, against the Vietnam War, if Ali was a Nigerian, he'd be jailed or dead. If George Foreman was a Nigerian, he'd be jailed or dead. If Mike Tyson was a Nigerian, we in Nigeria have a way of idolizing and looking after and admiring people who protest against the government. But when they protest against that government, we kill them. Fela is an example. Fela stood his ground till he fought against the government. What do we do? The government burnt his house. The government threw his mother out of the window. His government broke his jaw. Towards the latter years of Fela's life, he couldn't play the saxophone anymore. Okay? So if that happened to Fela, who lived in Ojuelegba and who is one of the greatest who was the greatest Africans that ever lived, then you can imagine what would happen to a young kid who challenges the system. The system is going to fight you and the system is going to win.
Wow. So in talking about a movement now, in, you know, building a movement, so that's somebody who, away from politics, has a following, has people who we can't see your face. Okay, sorry, sir. Let me just try and correct this network, guys. Please, can we cut? Sorry.
You mean I can see myself?
Can you see me clearly, sir?
Not very clearly, but I can see you. You're fuzzy, but I can see you, and I can see myself very well.
Please try. Please try your best to fix this. We should have worked on this minutes before. Okay, so I'm going to continue anyway. So in regards to building a movement, a solid movement, so it's going to take somebody outside of a political structure, building up a following. Like you said, Buhari had 11 million loyal voters, and that's without party structure even. If he decides tomorrow that he's going to, let's say, leave APC and he's going to do something, he would still have 11 million votes. What does this do for sure?
No matter what Buhari has his followers. He doesn't matter what he does. Just 5% of the American electorate. This is what happens. They are conservative Republicans. Just like Buhari. Buhari has nothing to do with APC. Buhari is Buhari. He's a phenomenon.
Is that the phone? Where is it? Bring it, please. Okay, sir. So building a movement outside of
Have
a
you fixed the
political
problem?
structure. So this thing, not yet, sir. We're working on it. A movement needs, if a young person wants to, let's say, what other political party or
Yeah, look,
put some sort of
there are
fight in
many things.
2023?
Okay, there are many things that 12 years ago,
Okay.
Hillary Clinton ran for president, right?
Yes, sir.
And I was at a home of not too far away from here, a friend of mine, and there was some CNN reporters at the time, and Hillary lost to Barack, and Barack got the nomination. So, and I am not a personal friend of Bill Clinton, neither am I a personal friend of Hillary Clinton,
Yes,
but
sir.
I have friends who are personal friends of both of them. So I asked my friend to speak to Bill Clinton. I said, go to President Clinton and ask him specifically why his wife lost the primaries to Barack. He went to Bill, and Bill said, my wife lost to Barack because Hillary refused to use my people. She wanted to be her own woman and to use her staff. They came back.
Wow.
I said, okay. I was not satisfied with the answer. I said, okay, go to Hillary and ask Hillary why she lost to Barack. And I want the truth. They came back to me, and Hillary said, I could never have defeated Barack. With Barack, it was a movement.
Whoa.
You understand? Okay,
Whoa.
so that's the freak of nature. A black man with a movement that defeated a political family like Hillary and Bill Clinton. Now, Fela could have had a movement if he wanted to, but he had to be serious. He couldn't be smoking Indian hemp and hang around with underage girls, right?
Yes, sir.
Buhari has a movement, but in the history of Nigeria, only Buhari has had a movement. Think about it. Nobody else. Awolowo had his following. Zik had his following. Other candidates had their following, but it was not a movement. I mean, many things constitute a movement. Sometimes it could be a freak of nature, like Barack, and sometimes it could be like Gandhi. It could be like Gandhi. Now, you look at why Gandhi was popular fighting the British and who he was and is ready to starve to death. People have to love you and believe in you and agree that you are the guy. Now, and then can a young kid from Nigeria form a movement? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Is he willing to pay the price? Is he willing to pay the price to have a movement? That is the problem. It's got to do with your age. Are you willing to pay? Are you ready to make the sacrifice? Are you ready to make the sacrifice? Don't make a sacrifice.
What would this sacrifice be, sir? What would this sacrifice be, sir?
Let's say you, for instance, or somebody comes up in the Nigeria and takes a position against the government or against the petroleum sector of the economy. The guy comes and takes a position. He becomes popular. He supports the masses. Then somebody in government calls him the next day, gives him $1 million and gives him a job, and he forgets about why he was protesting in the first place. Now, if you look at all the people who were popular, how many of them remained popular? After they got paid off by the people they were fighting, they forgot about the movement. The movement had an end game to make money, not to become popular, not to become president of Nigeria, governor of a state. It had a purpose. You understand?
It had genuine passion for change before the politics sets in. So people want to make change. So before getting into politics, they're not really a politician. But the moment they enter office, they become a politician.
No, big move it. I ain't think about getting into office. They take a position.
Yes,
when unpopular and a threat to the government calls them aside, gives them some money, offers them a position, and then they forget about the movement that made them popular in the first place.
Okay.
But then I be in prison for 27 years like Mandela. Name the Nigerian who's spent 27 years in prison and lose his family.
Wow.
Name a Nigerian woman who's ready to be beaten up and incarcerated like Winnie Mandela. Name a Nigerian who could be like Gandhi and starve to death to take a position. Where's the guy? So you can't sit there because you're young, you're smart. You can be young and smart, educated and talented, but are you willing to pay the price and suffer to go through what it takes to be successful? That is the question. Are they ready to do it? They're ready to do it. Sure. You're going to have a movement. You're going to have a young kid as president of Nigeria. But they're ready to pay the price. Because they'll jail you for sure. They're going to beat you up on the streets for sure. They're going to throw tear gas at you for sure. That's just how it is in the third world. You're not in a West, beat you up on the streets.
Wow. So I think this is the most plain I've ever heard a perspective on politics in Nigeria. I've never heard it like this before. And I do a lot of research. I watch a lot of videos. I see a lot of perspectives. And I don't think I've ever seen anybody say it this black and blue before.
Because I really don't care. You know, I got into politics to make a difference. I got into politics. The same people that wanted me to be in politics are the same people that didn't want me to be in politics. I'm not a guy they want in politics. A guy like me will not survive in politics because I'm going to tell it like it is. A guy like me will tell it, I'll protect my people. I'll fight for justice. I'll fight for inclusion. I'll fight for wealth for the middle class and the poor. And I will not be pushed around by anybody. So a guy like me shouldn't be in politics because a guy like me in politics is a threat to the political establishment. So why should I lie to young kids who want to go into politics? I should tell you the truth. Look, I had a front row seat in several presidential campaigns. I've also had a front row seat to the United States presidential campaign in '84 when Jesse Jackson ran for office. And he came third, had a great speech in San Francisco at the Democratic Convention. In '88, he ran again. He came second. I think Walter Mondale was a candidate. So working with Jesse Jackson, saw how he ran, and he raised, look, in 1984, Jesse Jackson raised $3 million for his entire campaign. He came third. He got about 3 million votes. He said to me, Ben, I ran the most cost-effective campaign in the history of the United States, 99 cents a vote. Because he raised his money in church, in schools. I remember one time I was with him at UCLA, but donating $3, $5, $10 for his campaign. It was one of those campaigns. Yeah, it was one of those campaigns. Look, when I saw Jesse run, I raised money from the people and how the people gave him money to run to become president of the United States of America. And so when Barack ran 20 years later, I didn't believe Barack would win because I was spent so much time with Jesse, believing in Jesse. I thought Jesse would take it. Now, when I started running in Nigeria, I said, wow, look at how Jesse raised money to become president of the United States. He didn't have a chance, but people supported him. In Nigeria, you raise money from the private sector and you give money to the voters. You give money to the voters to vote for you. Let's say I needed $500,000 for a Senate seat. In Nigeria, I have to have $500,000 in cash to pay the people who vote for you $500,000. You understand? So how is the kid going to have $500,000 to give to the kids, the people who are going to vote? And if you don't pay, they don't vote.
Yes, sir.
You pay.
Yes, sir.
You pay
and they vote.
Look at the candidates we're paying. So you have to, apart from 500,000 people on the day of the election, you have to have a budget to pay them 5,000 naira, 3,000 naira, 1,000 naira to vote for you. What kind of system is that?
Sir. Well, why do you think it's like that, sir? Why do you think Nigeria is like that? Why is it the other way around?
Because you had desperate politicians who wanted to be in office, who made money illegally. You cannot sell popcorn and then have 10 billion naira to go run an election. You can run a theater and then I run a radio station, and you make your money from Nestle or Cadbury or Procter & Gamble or MTN or whoever, and then take that money and then go and run for election. You know you're going to lose it. So how many people, even like me, are going to run for election knowing you're going to lose the money? So you're telling me some kid who has a newspaper or who has a TV station or who has a company is going to spend his hard-earned cash so he can serve the people who you need to fuel by paying them every single day? You have to pay them.
Wow.
Every day you're a politician, you get a text. My grandfather died. My mother died. Let me tell you something. When I was a senator, one guy sent me a text. He said the roof of his house fell off. He needed 150,000 naira to repair his roof. And I said, yes, sir. This guy's a clown. What am I going to do? He wanted to give him 150 to repair his roof. I ignored him. He sent another text. He said, I'm giving you your last warning. If you don't repair my roof, This is my last warning. Another one said he went, this is in Bayelsa, went to the hospital, had a baby. The nurse carried a 1-day-old baby and dropped the child. The child died. Now I should send him money to bury the child. I mean, how does the nurse drop your 1-day-old baby, the child died, and I should send you money to bury the child? So you have to have a budget. You have to have a budget for the most ridiculous stories that you hear. And if you're a governor, my Lord, you have a phenomenal expenditure. If you're a president, you're lucky, you're protected. And when you become president, you can tell everybody to go to hell. You can tell everybody to go because they can't reach you. They can't reach you.
So what I'm getting from you is the moment you get into office, you're almost fighting to remain there. And you fighting to remain there is basically you giving the people that are going to vote for you money every day. You have to meet their needs. If not, they're going to rebel against you.
They'll fight you. They'll come after you. They'll try to impeach you. They'll abuse you in the press. They'll accuse you of things you never did in your life. That is politics, Nigerian style. That's what I went through. So I'm not telling you, listen, look, let me tell you. You can go to Harvard Business School. You can go to Yale, Oxford, MIT. You can go to USC. You can go to Stanford. And they can teach you political science in all the schools.
Yes,
but
sir.
Unless you have practical experience.
Yes, sir.
Unless you have practical experience. Look, in the executive in the government, I've made laws for Nigeria. And I'm in the private sector. I am very qualified to have this conversation.
Yes, sir.
I'm very qualified. And I'm telling you as it is. And I would add, the kids like it, they don't like it. Kids like it, they don't like it. Hey, it's their choice. But I'm not going to lie to it. I'm an old guy now. You know, and as I what happened, you know, kids have to understand that, you know, I'll tell it like it is.
Wow. Wow. So, okay. So going back to what you said about people texting and calling and wanting help and, you know, them being quite horrible about it. Could you say that some of the politicians in Nigeria actually behave the way they do because they're just reacting to the behavior of the people? Would you say
some people have genuine problems? They come to me and I help them. I gave you those two examples were ridiculous. One said one